Senran Kagura 2 is the third game, and in the timeline, the second game, in the popular fan service brimmed series Senran Kagura. The first game was one of the most boring anime-inspired beat-em-ups on modern hardware, but it was the sequel that had given me hope for the franchise as a whole. My point is, so far the series has a 1-to-1 win-loss ratio. Is Senran Kagura a make or break for the franchise as a whole? Senran Kagura 2 is a beat-em-up centralized around 2 buttons. However, I'm happy to say in terms of feel, it is not one of the hundreds of Dynasty Warriors clones. Like every other beat-em-up you can think of, in Senran Kagura you kill all the enemies in a room and progress to the next room. If you take too much damage, however, your clothes will rip in a short and sped up animation. Much less annoying than past games, but now you can, and I quote, you can finally turn it off, which, for me, is a big deal breaker. With tight controls, the repetition becomes more of a problem with the genre as a whole, and less of a problem with the core game itself. The playable game modes include, and are all available in both local and online co-op. Mission mode, the core campaign, and the best in the series yet, the trope of going room to room is, of course, present, but now, featuring actual boss fights, in addition to the fights against other characters. This better helps pace the game, but don't get your hopes up too high. The mission structure is sometimes littered in a way that can only be classified as fluffing. The boss fights are good, but the fights against new Yoma generals are not. Yoma generals get repetitive and simply refuse to go away. For each mission, you are given a rank based off of your combo counts, time, and number of hits taken. While the balance of the ranking system still leans too heavily on not getting hit, it is much better than, say, Senran Kagura 1. Mode number 2 is the Heavy Nest, an incredibly boring kill all the enemies mode. No, that is it. Forget the depth. You go through a pyramid, complete each stage with the exact same backdrop, the exact same music, goal, and repeat. For clearing those levels, you get cool weapon skins that do nothing. But that doesn't change how awful the mode is itself. And the last mode is the most creatively named mode in the history of video games, Special Mission Mode. No, I'm not kidding. That is literally the name of the mode. Now, Special Mission Mode is, well, special missions. You know, challenges, you can't get hit, you have to kill all the enemies within the time limit, yada yada yada. You get stones for your equipment, which will power you up, like regen your health or regen your partner health. Now, these stones are a good reward, yes, but they also break the game. That you can easily turn yourself into a god and make boss fights a joke. Overall, Senran Kagura 2's gameplay offers a bloated but fun experience for fans of beat-em-ups. And with featuring the ability to now turn off the annoying clothes rip animation, Senran Kagura 2 stands as the most satisfying Senran Kagura experience to date. Gameplay gets a 7 out of 10. Everything in Senran Kagura is well modeled, and even when playing in 3D, the frame rate manages to remain in check. The lack of actual cutscenes is a little disheartening, but the series' signature 3D mastery more than makes up for it. Aside from the jaggies that show up when you turn on the 3D, a cost to pay for 3DS owners, the game manages to shine in 3D. Complementing the modeling is well-drawn artwork and a full-motion startup sequence, which is unfortunately not in 3D. However, that is not all to offer in Senran Kagura's presentation. The game offers robust customization features which allow you to customize the character's clothing all the way down to the underwear with dozens, if not hundreds, of options. You can even choose their hairstyle and customize that. The only real downside is the outfits only have 3 to 5 color alternatives, while the underwear all have like 30. A little ridiculous. Graphics get an 8 out of 10. Senran Kagura 2 is fully voice acted down to even the intermission between menus. If that was not enough, they even allow you to pick your favorite character to voice each of the intermissions. I chose Mirai. However, I should note the game only features Japanese voice acting, which may throw off some players, especially when you factor in the fact the anime has a dub and the game costs $50 new at retail, a 20% up, 25% upcharge to the normal DS game price. Accompanying fantastic voice acting is a varied and downright amazing soundtrack. Every track seemed to match the situation perfectly, and rarely did the same track get repeated, an impressive feat when you take into account the repetitive nature of the game. Sadly, though, the same song is used for every floor of the Yoma's Nest and for the special missions. Sound gets an 8 out of 10. The story takes place directly after the first game, or the anime, and while the game attempts to recap the first game, I'd recommend you watch the anime first, since the first game was pretty awful. The game tells a surprisingly well-crafted multi-layered story with quite a bit of depth. The premise is simple. There are demons, and there is a chosen one who must go on a quest for ultimate power to kill them. The cost being that all of Kyoto would be eradicated due to the energy. While that may not seem good at first, the confliction between the characters and the occasional joke thrown in from time to time makes for an enjoyable ride all the way through. I even enjoyed the hot spring missions, which are usually the worst part of an anime or a game. This story is told by both dialogue as well as well-translated visual novel segments, allowing for a much deeper storytelling than the average script. The story gets a 9 out of 10. Before I can give the game the final rating, I have to tell you about the game's dark side. Now, in the dressing room, you can dress up the characters. Okay, that's perfectly fine. However, how can I say this? Senran Kagura 2 places a heavy emphasis on this feature. First of all, you can customize all the characters down to their underwear, as I said. But you can also pose them however you want in various outfits, including their underwear. Not enough, you can prod them. Not enough, you can take photos. Not enough, you can take gimmicky AR photos. Still not enough, you could put 2 characters in the same dressing room and pose them. Still not enough, you could prod them while it's doing that. Okay, it's just downright ridiculous. Look, maybe the features aren't just for me, but there it is. I'm not taking off any points or adding any points. I just thought I have to tell you that. In conclusion, Senran Kagura 2 is the best in the series, and leaves me optimistic about the future of the franchise. With a fantastic writing, customization, and music, it is only a shame the game felt so bloated. It is most certainly not worth $50 on the 3DS. A 25% hike is insane. It'd be worth it on a system where $50 was the standard price. My average score, averaging all of the scores together, is 8 out of 10. However, the buy scale is 3 out of 4. Wait for the price to go down.